So in this lesson, we're concentrating primarily on thumbnailing this painting, getting a color scheme down as well as touching on composition. I've chosen this drawing to use as a rough guide for our character here, and I'm going to keep both of these layers just to the side so I can use them as reference as I go, but I still have this space available. Okay, so the first place you want to start is getting an idea of the canvas. So what I'll do is create a new layer. I'm going to name this thumbnail. And with the marquee tool over here, I'm going to just plot out some designs for canvas sizes. And then what we want to do is fill, it's in with the black, and then select, modify, contract, probably about 3 pixels, and then delete. And what this gives is a nice border for our painting, or the thumbnail of the painting. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, just so we have 2 of them. And I'm going to change this one up a bit. I'm going to, using the transform tool, rotate it so it's vertical, so it's lengthways like this. Okay, and I'm going to use a folder. Just put these in the folder for now, so they're out of the way, and then make a new layer. Okay, so this is where we start using color. I'm just going to use the eyedropper and select the color of the skin. I'm just going to begin just plotting out some ideas of how I'm going to lay out this painting. Same as we used before with the silhouette sketching, we're just kind of getting shape down. Nothing is official just yet, it's just getting an idea of the composition. Make things larger or smaller. And I'm just going to make a few swatches just so we have something to use. I'm going to keep this color scheme pretty red-orange. I'm just going to start shading in the design. Face. Now remember, this is speed painting, so there really is just, you have to concentrate on getting it done quickly and not perfectly. Her hair, just going to bring, maybe it's so it's being swept back a little bit, like that. And we have the sunlight coming from maybe this direction, so all the shadows are on the side of her face. Bringing her arm down a little bit, just erasing the parts I don't like. And I want to just move her body a bit. So I'm going to bring the shoulder up a little further, put the neck out this way. I still want this space to be here, so I'm going to bend her body slightly. Kind of like that. Okay, so the shirt. When you're doing thumbnail painting, it's a very good idea to paint from a distance, so zoom yourself right out like this. Don't get too close, because then you start focusing on details without realizing it, so just keep everything at a distance, and you work a lot quicker. Alright, so I'm going to just begin putting in the lighting and the shadows, and I kind of want the shadows to be like a red, like I said before, so I'm going to set this brush to a multiply mode, and I'm not using a vibrant red, I'm just using like a dull orange. I'm just going to start filling in where the shadows will be. Use light strokes. And with a multiply mode, you don't want to layer the strokes like this too much, because then it gets far too deep. Try and keep everything on 1 or 2 different brush strokes. I kind of want the hair to be a slightly more purple color, and that's far too purple. So what I'm going to do is, I'm still on the multiply setting, I'm just going to bring it lightly over using a very light stroke over this swatch, and you get a nice medium between the 2 shades. And there you go, so that's a nice, still red, but it's slightly more with a blue tone to it, so I'm going to use that for the hair. This side of her face will be completely in shadow, so try and do that. Take it off the multiply setting and just fill in a little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to round this up. Okay, so here we go. One thumbnail is done, and we're going to move on to this thumbnail down here. We're going to try something a little different with some slightly different colors. So I'm changing the pose slightly, having her facing in this direction now, so she's going to be standing the same way, but it's just rotated slightly. And like before, I'm just getting swatches from this design here as I go. Very, very quick, just getting the shapes down. So something like this, hair color. Still kind of sweeping back. And this time I think I'm going to have the lights. Actually, I have it coming from the same way as the previous one, but obviously it will look different at an angle, so just gonna use a neutral shadow for now until I have an idea of what kind of lighting I want this to be. So for now, just using slightly darker flesh tone. Gonna have her hands coming into pockets. The belt's coming round, something like that anyway. Filling in the hair. Okay, so once you have just very, very quick colors down, I'm going to make a new layer, and this is just an alternative way to coloring quickly as opposed to how I did it here, where it was just freehand, eyedropping each color at a time. So for now, I'm going to create a clipping mask, and I'm just going to set this layer to, let's say, overlay for now. Let's see how it goes, and I'm going to use maybe a slightly bluer tone for the shadows. Okay, overlay does not work, but jump around between them, see which one works for you. I think multiply will probably be a better option, so with that in mind, just shading in like before, and I'm going to jump between two different tones for this. Slightly bluer one for the clothing, perhaps, and the hair, and slightly lighter for the skin. So yeah, pretty much the same thing, but it's just in a separate layer. This just allows a little bit more of an accurate method of coloring, or layering the color like we're doing now. Okay, so I've done the shadows, so I'm going to jump back to that original layer with the flat colors, and using a light blue, maybe a little warmer actually, I'm going to make it a pink. I'm just going to start highlighting very gently with a very light brush stroke certain areas. So the hair will actually make crisp white in certain places where the light hits it strongest. Maybe more saturated in certain areas. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so there's two different ideas for digital paintings in the form of thumbnails. Using messy color blocking like this is the fastest and most effective way to seeing an idea come to life and making decisions between variations when you're on a time limit. For me personally, I think I prefer the top one I painted, the first one. So that's the design I'm going to be working with. In the next lesson, we'll begin the first steps of putting a digital painting together. Yeah, whatever.